We're going to use a more open movement task here to explore as many different unconventional squatting positions as possible. You'll start balancing on one leg, and then you're going to select a point on the floor around you to which you'll step. The rule when choosing the point is that you have to reach out and touch weightlessly first. So I'm testing the water first without putting any weight into that point, and then I shift the weight into that leg. Once you're in this position, you've got both feet down, you're going to do a squat. The squat will be defined as touching a hamstring to a calf. Yeah, and that can be on one side, it can be on the other side, or it could be on both sides. So I have to touch one of my hamstrings to the same side calf, and we say, okay, you've done your squat. I come up, and then I'll draw my weight into this leg without pushing off the back leg at all, off the previous leg at all. I unweight that back leg and then lift it. And then I'll choose a point with this foot. First, test the water, light touch, then shift the weight into that leg, then perform a squat, hamstring touches the calf, try to find a solution, hamstring touches calf, come back up, shift the weight into that leg without pushing off the previous leg. So always stepping with control. Don't rush to get to the next point, because this is part of the challenge, is moving with control between the squats. Choose a new point, reach out, light touch, slowly start shifting the weight into that point. Find a way to touch hamstring to calf, come back up, shift the weight into this leg, choose a new point, test the water, demonstrate control, ground the leg, perform a squat, touch the hamstring to a calf, come back up, shift the weight into the next leg. And don't worry about symmetry, don't worry about doing the same thing on left and right. Just explore, discover as many different weird squatting positions as you can. Of course, we're going into more vulnerable positions, particularly for the knees. So move slowly. If you need to use your hands on the floor for assistance, you've had knee problems in the past, you're a little bit concerned about it, you can do that. Just move slowly, pay close attention to the sensations, and come up with as many different options as possible. This drill is performed in a quadrupedal position. And notice my feet are not so far away from my hands. I'm in quite a compact position here. The spine is slightly rounded and the hips and shoulders should be level. From here, you're going to maintain this shape and then slowly unweight and then lift a limb, replace it, right hand first, and then right foot, and then left foot, and then left hand. And the goal here is to absolutely minimize or even eliminate external movement. So I'm not unweighting the limb with these large movements. Instead, I'm maintaining the shape, reorganizing my structure internally to unweight the limb such that I can lift it without changing that shape and without destabilizing the system. So I don't just lift the limb and see what happens. First I unweight it and then lift it up with control and replace it with control. You'll feel a lot of work happening through the midsection in particular in order to help stabilize that position. One cycle here is defined as moving or lifting the right hand, right foot, left hand, and reversing, left hand, left foot, right hand. That would be one cycle. So I'll demonstrate. And back. Now resist the urge to rush through the cycles and strive always to maintain that exact same shape throughout the movement. Many people will need to use a wall to help with balance for this drill. So if that's the case for you, stand in front of the wall, start by sending your knees as far forward as possible, and make sure you're sending them directly forward, not in or out, directly forward. Use the wall if you need it, maybe just the tips of the index fingers, and then keeping the knees as far forward as possible, lift up, drive the heels up, and then lower down and just very lightly touch them to the floor, and then drive them up again. Lower down, keep the knees bent and the knees as far forward as possible. Those two things, of course, go together. Light touch of the heel on the floor. Many people will feel an Achilles stretch in this position, perhaps a calf stretch. So it's a controlled movement down, a light contact with the floor, and then a quick push back up. Lower down slowly, and lift up quickly. Okay, if this is easy for you for the prescribed number of repetitions, you can do the same thing on a single leg. So same thing, send one knee forward, as far forward as possible, without letting the heel come off, and then perform the calf raise, making sure you keep nice clear contact between the ball of the big toe and the floor, and that the knee stays as far forward as possible throughout the movement. This is a fantastic drill for the entire posterior chain for the back surface of the body, if done well. If done poorly, it's a very good drill for getting a sore lower back. So pay close attention to the details, and even more importantly, pay very close attention to the feeling of the position in your body during each hold. If you feel that your lower back is doing the vast majority or all of the work, make adjustments to your position. Try to implement the cues and find a shape where that's no longer the case before continuing the hold. Details here are, we're pulling the heels together and squeezing the inner thighs together as well. Point the toes and reach the feet away from the center. You're going to do the same thing with the arms. You're reaching the arms away from the center. The palms will be facing in toward each other, and the hands are shoulder width apart. So we're searching for maximal length in the system. Reach away from the center. And then, aiming to distribute the arch throughout the entire posterior chain, you will lift the arms and legs up as high as you can. Yeah, so the legs, the backs of the legs are working, the glutes are working, the backs of the shoulders are working, the upper back is working, not just the lower back is working, although it will be involved, of course. Yeah, to help with that, you can try pressing the fronts of the hips down into the floor to help get more of a lift through the legs and from the legs. So we search for length and then lift and hold.